on the record. You know, if you like the show, there's a little button. If you're watching online, there's a little button. It says subscribe, subscribe. Share. See right underneath there, it have a little thing. Share, share it. You know, don't keep it to yourself. If you want to call in, 225-9476, you'll see the number come up here. We on the record with Ephraim Serrette, the president of the NAAA. Ephraim, a lot of people don't seem to understand that sporting organizations in Trinidad and Tobago, aside from cricket, nobody owns the facility.
No.
How does that hinder the operations of the NAAA?
Well, it works both ways for us.
Right.
In that we don't have to pay. So like we have a championships or an event, we don't have to pay a rental or fees. So that's something that would come back to us in
that's
the
a plus,
That's
definitely.
a plus. How it works against us, and I mean, we have to share the space because internationally these arenas are used for other events.
It's a multi-sport arena.
Right. So they're used for other events. So that, you know, we would have been hindered this year because all the other arenas were under repairs. So that the only area that for training would have been the Hazy Crawford.
That's in Trinidad.
In Trinidad and Tobago was the Dwight York. But that track also is also under repair as well. So with the Larry Gomes being completed and work is being done at Maniramjan and at the Dwight York, people will be better able to plan come Carnival, you know, when the stadium is locked down for the season. So the people who really suffer are the throwers and the jumpers. The jumpers and throwers may still have a little problem because the only certified for track and field that we have, certification areas we have as Hazy Crawford and Dwight York. In Maniramjan and Larry Gomes, there are Atto and Larry.
Right.
There are no throwing facilities. What we have done as a federation, we have done a throwing circle in Atto Bolden, and we have tried to put a jumping pit in place there as well. We modify the area and take up the nets, and we use some ply to cater for the throwers for the discus.
Right.
You know, when we are unable. So we get creative.
And let's put this in context for the people. Keyshawn Walcott from Toko. He had to come down Hazy Crawford. Right? People don't understand how long that going to take. How long that drive is. You know how much taxi, he didn't have no car.
Well, he actually...
You know how much taxi that is? You know how much bus you had? I lined up for a bus last night. We spent 50 minutes waiting for a bus, end up taking a taxi. Let's get real here.
No, but what we had done, 5 years or 6 years ago, we would have recognized, because we do a lot of analysis, and we would have recognized we were getting a lot more track medals than field medals. So we had
the Cubans?
Well, we had created this throws and jumps program. So we tried to focus more. We placed a lot more focus on the field events to try to bring it up on par. They were getting medals, but I didn't think that the focus was, we didn't have so much sufficient focus. So that we would have developed this national program, spoke to the then sport minister, and we would have gotten the services of the Cuban coaches who we felt that would have been, had more to do with us than in the primary schools and where they had them. And we would have arranged for the coach, the chose coach, that is Mastrapper, to go to Toko twice a week. Right? So even when his contract was up, because they normally have for 3 years and then they have to go back.
So that was an NAAA's initiative to bring him in there.
Well, we would
but
have
it was
met,
in coordination with the
we would have met with the then minister
right.
and say to him that, look, we think we have better use of these people because they had them in the ministry and they would have been going to schools and whatever programs. And we thought that we needed to get them dedicated to the sport and we could have put programs in place. We had Ishmael at the time, we had Jose, who would have been doing the hurdles and some sprints, and we had Arnaldo doing jumps. So we used to arrange for the Mastrapper to go to Toko, recognizing that Toko had a special interest in field. So he used to visit, we used to pay a stipend for him to go to Toko twice a week. All right? And then in the end, like last year or year before, I think it would have been last year, you know, Keyshawn would have moved to San Juan with Sean Roach, who showed an interest and, you know, tried to accommodate him so that he could have stayed closer to the site to get the training and that kind of thing. But we had we had focus on that, and we're using the coaches. Even in the case of Mastrapa, when his 3-year contract was up, we went in and sat with sport company and asked, you know, made a case for them to employ him to do work for us.
So the rumor that he wasn't getting paid before London, true, false?
Well, I don't know what that was about. I don't know what that was about, but I know he was employed at sport company.
Right. Because there's a persistent rumor that, and the minister came on here, the Minister of Sports, Arnold Roberts, he came on here and he said that is untrue. But I still hearing people telling me, nah, boy, so. Well, I'm still hearing that he was not paid right up until, I think he was, Keyshawn was in, there was a junior event.
The World Juniors in Spain.
Up till that point in time, he still hadn't gotten paid. That's what I heard.
Paid from who?
Well, this is the question I have. Who was supposed to pay the man?
So I wouldn't know about that. Whether he was working on a personal, because you know these elite athletes have their personal coaches, and if the elite funding they get, part of that is being paid, the athletes pay the coaches, they pay for massage therapy, whatever, transport, and that kind of thing. So I don't know if it's that they're talking about, but he was employed at the sport company, so I wouldn't.
Another mystery that we had to figure out on the record, eh?
But you know we do every year after competition, because track and field is a year-round sport.
Yes,
it's a year-round sport. So we do our analysis and we look at what was, you know, what would have happened in the particular year. What are some of the things we need to look at? In the last year or two, we weren't able to bring in as much. We didn't have as much programs for coaches. So every year we would try to bring in at least two seminars or a conference or something like that for the coaches and that kind of thing. But what we do though is try to make sure that anything regionally or internationally that we could send coaches to, we would do that.
NAAA, unlike many of the other sports, NAAA has a very well-developed and a historically well-developed youth program from age what? 5?
From
you have
6.
From age 6, right. From age 6 you have Trinidadians and Tobagonians running at every basically discipline. You have jumps, you have other things as well. Yet you still see that a lot of the development issues are the first things to go from your budget, because the ministry is not paying for that.
Well, that's the biggest figure in your budget, you know, development. Right. You know, the development figure is the biggest figure. 4 or 5 years ago, the IAAF would have introduced a program called Kids Athletics. And we have been rolling that out in primary schools. We are working on modifying it to take it to like the secondary schools up to Form 2. It's a run, jump, throw.
Okay.
And it's really the fundamentals of track and field. So we have been working on that. Out of that, some clubs would have formed out of that program.
So there's the international body through what? PASO?
Well, the IAAF itself.
Through, okay.
Yeah. I think they were working with Milo internationally.
Okay.
To have that program.
Right.
So
and that is already on stream.
We have that on stream. So we use that, but we supplement that as well with some other, with other programs we have. The funding that we get isn't sufficient because of the demand, and our sport is a sport where at the primary level we have, the participation is great.
Huge.
It's very huge.
Yeah.
But you must remember, this sport is not like a team sport where you can hide. It's you and you alone.
Yeah.
So that from primary into secondary and the attrition rate there is very high.
Yeah. Well, we'll talk about that in a little while. Remember, we want to invite your phone calls, 225-9476. We have Ephraim Serrette, president of the NAAA, on the record. Don't go nowhere. We're going to take a little break. Come right back at you.
Tonight.